What's up, boys? Happy Saturday to you. It is freezing out in the Hammertown. Overnight it got real cold. Got lots to talk to today. I went a little zero dark 30 yesterday. I'm having a bit of a tough time just navigating the emotional, physical, and mental wear and tear on Aprils. Aprils are always real tough on me, and yesterday was just kind of a tough day to grind through, and I think we've all been there and we've all had it, and I'm starting to try to work through it. I know that as I get closer to summer, it becomes easier, and I'm just kind of trying to process everything. So it wears on everybody some days, some weeks, when everything just is kind of just giving you the grind and the gears. So I'm working through that, and sometimes weeks like this, this was more of a fun thing, but it's slowly right now becoming a bit of a therapy session. So I don't want to Debbie down anybody or make you guys feel like I'm gonna jump off a bridge, but it's kind of like therapy right now for me. So just being able to talk through things, talking to my phone, sometimes it's almost like a dear diary, some shit like that. So last night the Charlotte Checkers beat the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, and if I could go back in time and remind everybody how dumb the second round is, nothing was more prevalent than watching that soccer match, ECHL hockey game last night, 0-0 at the Barclays Arena on a Friday night. If there was like 5 regular season games that involved any kind of original 6 team or top 5 offensive team in the league, no one's watching that game last night. I don't even think anybody gets in that rink. Not only is it one of the shittiest rinks in the entire league, the Barclays Arena, I have no idea why they wouldn't have. I know they negotiated to have the second round there, but the Long Island Nassau Coliseum is a tough place to play when it's packed in the playoffs, and the Islanders could have really used that as an advantage, and they really fucked themselves over because of it. 0-0 game on a Friday night at Barclays Arena, which, by the way, I mentioned before, it wasn't designed for hockey. It was after the fact they put hockey in there. So it's a retrofitted rink that doesn't have the proper cooling system to keep the ice really, really good. Not to mention the sight lines are shit. They've got a car in the corner. Now it's not even like in some of the European rinks where they have like Skoda and some of these car companies, that's kind of different because there's a lot of seating, and some people are in certain sections because certain sections are like party. It's a different atmosphere in the European rinks. It's hard to describe, but that Barclays Arena is pure trash. And like I said, if game 1 is any indication of how little I'm going to watch the second round, there you go right there. 0-0. I sent out an old favorite video of Sam Mitchell when he was coaching the Raptors after a piss poor performance by his team, and it was very indicative last night. There were guys with stat lines. The game was a stat line of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. How fucking boring is that? That's just embarrassing. Bad on the NHL. Congratulations for Charlotte winning. I don't give a fuck. I didn't even watch a single second of it, and I didn't watch the highlights because it's a waste of my time. And there was a game last night afterwards, San Jose and Colorado. I didn't watch any of that game either because I don't give a fuck. I was a little surprised that Colorado didn't win because San Jose's banged up. However, it wasn't San Jose, and I think one of the reasons why Colorado beat Calgary was that they were able to, after playing Calgary once, make adjustments and then go forward with a game plan. And I think because of their struggles this year and working through those struggles, they actually became a team who got really good at being honest with each other, meaning the coach and the players, and finding a game plan solution that they're all going to unify on and go forward with. And so I think going into game 2, you're going to see a much different Colorado team, because in any sport, but in hockey playoffs and basketball playoffs, it's about adjustments and making adjustments. And I fully expect Colorado to make adjustments. Pete DeBoer is an excellent coach. He's a very, very good coach, and he's going to expect adjustments to be made. But I think as this series goes on, game 3, 4, 5, and possibly 6, maybe even 7 games, you're going to see a Colorado team that's younger and fresher, and you're going to see a San Jose team that is banged up and right now is carrying and riding the wave of emotion because of a great Game 7, but is going to start breaking down here. Erik Karlsson is not 100%. Pavelski's not even playing. Joe Thornton is 105 years old. Some of these guys are banged up, and they'll continue to get banged up. Colorado has a very, very mobile defense. They have a very good defense, and if they get some goaltending from Grubauer, that McKinnon-Landeskog line is going to skate them into the ground, and we're going to see a shift and change here. This series is going minimum 6. I think Colorado's going to win this series because it's a 7-game series. If it's a 5-game or 3-game, I think San Jose can do it, but I think they're just going to run out of gas at the end of the day. So they better win their home games, or else they're in big, big trouble, because then it puts all the pressure on Colorado going back to the Pepsi Center to see what they can do. Providence Bruins, they won a game. They're going to roll. They're going to the final, and it's just going to hurt Leaf fans even more because this was the year that both teams could potentially go to the final. This was a year where a lot of these teams that got knocked out first round are going to look back and saying, boy, did we ever really fuck up, because we could have rolled all the way to the final. And Boston's going to roll to the final. And wouldn't it be something, I don't think it's going to happen, but wouldn't it be something if San Jose and Boston went to the final? Joe Thornton raises the Stanley Cup, beating Boston in Boston, and calls it a career, finishing it off where it all began. That would be the one storyline that to me would be similar to Ray Bourque and the Colorado situation in 2001, where I would just be like, that's amazing. That was worth all the upsets in the first round to see something like that. But other than that, if I have to see Carolina and who the fuck? I don't even know who these shitty teams are. If I have to see Carolina and Columbus in the Eastern Conference Final, there's going to be more fucking driving with gingers the dark side. There's going to be a lot of five in a games handed out, let me tell you that. St. Louis, Dallas plays this afternoon. St. Louis, I just think they're a really, really tough, well-balanced team. They've got everything. They really do have everything. I just think they're a great team. Dallas is not a pushover. I just don't think Dallas has the secondary scoring depth that St. Louis does. They've been able to get it done. They have great puck-moving defensemen, young guys. They have a great goalie, maybe even an advantage in goalie because of the experience. But St. Louis is a team that can play you. They can play you heavy. They can play you fast. They can play you dirty. They can play you clean. They got game breakers. They got good 200-foot players. They have a good goalie. They've got big defensemen. They got puck-moving defensemen. That St. Louis team, I'm telling you, they got off to a real slow start because of all the changes they made. They made a ton of changes. But once they figured it all out and they got a little bit of goaltending because Jake Allen wasn't there in the first half of the season, things changed. That team is a real tough team. And I can actually see St. Louis. I can see St. Louis winning the Cup. I don't think I see San Jose or Colorado truly winning the Stanley Cup. They could. But if I'm putting my bets on who is going to win the Cup right now, I would say I would put all my money behind St. Louis first, and then Boston second, and then if San Jose can get healthy, whoever wins that series, whether it's Colorado or San Jose, I'd put in that 3 spot. That's where I'd put my money right now. Columbus I think the slipper or the Cinderella shoe or whatever. I just don't think they're going to be able to shake the rust off before they're in a hole of 2 or 3-0. So Boston's just too experienced. They're not gonna fall for that trap. Brad Marchand's doing Brad Marchand things, stepping on fucking sticks. I would have taken that broken stick and shoved it right up his ass, carved his fucking eyeballs out if he did that to me. Funny story. Well, it's not that funny, but I guess I can tell you guys. I was known as I was more of a finesse player playing junior hockey. But there was a guy in camp one year that kind of did something like that. And I gave it to him, and I got him on the inside of his leg, and he had like 20 zippers because he was trying to cause shit, and I cut him open for 20, and nobody fucking touched me the rest of the camp, and that was that. So I could carve it up with the best of them. I did some damage with that blade, and when those fucking guys come around doing that shit, I'd carve them right up. So carved a guy up for 20 zippers. I ended up playing. Funny thing is, 2 years later, I ended up playing with him on another team, and we were totally cool afterwards. He understood what was going on, but he showed me the scar, and it was literally the whole inside of his inner thigh. And he said, it came close to the artery, but it kind of caught in a fatty spot. Didn't even get into any muscle, but he said it didn't even really bleed. It was just like sliced right open. He couldn't believe it. But Travis Lowton, good guy, and ended up playing with him a couple years later. But I would have fucking carved Marchand up on that play. Quick OHL update. I mentioned the 67s are off to the OHL final. They're awaiting the winner between Saginaw and Guelph. Guelph was staving off elimination last night. They won 4-0 in Saginaw, Game 5. Series is 3-2 now. Game 6 goes back at the Sleeman Center. And Guelph is going to try to make a comeback here and push another series to Game 7. Boy, you'd be pretty tired. I think Saginaw is going to close it out, even if it goes 7. I just think, Guelph's going to run out of gas here. And what will end up happening is the same thing that happened last year where, last year the Hamilton Bulldogs won the OHL title. I didn't feel, they kind of rolled through 5 games in the Eastern, because the East is a little bit in a transition. They don't have a lot of great teams. The power is shifting over here in the next couple of years, but last year, they kind of walked through the East and were fresh for the final, whereas the West was what it usually is. It's pretty heavy with the Londons and the Kitcheners of the world. And so Sault Ste. Marie, which had an amazing team last year, they got pushed to the brink a couple series, and then by the time they got to the final, they were gassed. They were completely gassed. They were too tired. and Hamilton ended up beating them in 5 or 6 games. I think it was 6. But Sault Ste. Marie could have easily won that series if they were fresher. And I think that's going to happen again this year. Ottawa's going to be fresh and primed and ready to go, and they're going to end up beating whoever they're going to play. So, quick NBA note: Raptors get going tonight, which is exciting. They're going to be playing the 76ers. I like that matchup for the Raptors. Just a man-to-man all across the board. They've got a lot of great matchups, and it should be an exciting series. The Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks get going tomorrow, and that's another good matchup. I'm taking Boston, who is an underdog in that series. Game 7 between Denver and San Antonio goes tonight after the Raptors game. The NBA is the only professional sports league that starts their second round before the first round's even done. That's a first round matchup after the Raptors' second round matchup game. And DeMar DeRozan, who we all know about DeMar DeRozan, playing in Game 7, that's a game of interest. I'm pretty sure DeMar DeRozan's going to ghost that game. And we have Murray, who's a Canadian from playing for Denver. He's a stone cold killer, and he throws the old arrow. They got it in Denver tonight. I'm picking Denver to beat San Antonio, and DeMar DeRozan will not be a factor. I think he's just a complete he's a non-gamer. He's a good player, just a non-gamer. Murray's a gamer, and I expect them to win. And then last night Golden State won. They're going to be playing Houston second round. That's going to be a 3:00 game on Sunday. I think Golden State's going to win that series, but I do think it's going to go 7 again this year. And to me, Golden State, they're still going to roll and probably end up going to the final. I can't see them being upset. It could happen. I hope it happens. But if they end up going another round, 7 games, and maybe even another round, 7 games, it's really setting it up nicely for the East champ, and I'm hoping that's the Raptors, because now you got a team that's banged up, and on their off days, they're asking the Golden State a ton of questions. So mentally and physically, taking a toll on the Golden State Warriors, so that by the time they get to the final, maybe they'll be primed and ready to go. The Raptors will be to take them down. So I'm just hoping for 7-game series against the Warriors, and everyone's just chipping away at them, so that they're really, really tired and banged up emotionally, physically for that final. And I'm hoping that the Raptors can finish Philly off early, and then continue to get some rest, so that Milwaukee and Boston, that's going 7 games guaranteed, and the Raptors might luck out here with some fatigue on some of these other teams. So. And very, very interesting second round. I get really, really excited for NBA second round, because that's the final 8 teams are really, really good teams. And so that's what I'm going to be watching for the next couple weeks, is the second round NBA action. And I'll be checking the box scores for the NHL. But if they're going to continue to be 0-0 games, I'm not going to invest 2.5 hours of my time on a rare night off to watch a fucking game at the Barclays Arena. 2 teams I don't give a fuck about. So that's all I got for today's Driving with Gingers. Going a little bit overboard today, but I want to thank you guys for all tuning in and watching, and I'll see you guys on Monday.